The stream is live. We're up.
We are live. Yay. Okay, let's see if it's working on YouTube. Refresh. It says it's waiting. Why is it not there? I don't know. Can anybody hear us? I wonder if anybody's here.
Somebody comment if you can hear us.
If not, it's probably not working right.
And bear with us. We're figuring out all the technology right now.
Right. I don't think it's up there. Why is it not up there?
Can anybody hear us?
Okay, there we are.
We're live.
Okay, there we're at. There we are. Okay, I gotta this, and then we'll be fine. There is a delay. So we're looking at it in StreamYard, and they're looking at it in YouTube, and there's just a little delay. So,
hi, friends.
Let's see. Hello. If you're here, please say hello. Yay. Okay, I think somebody liked that, so they can hear us. Okay. Alrighty. So welcome. We're here. Hi, Julie. Thanks for being here. We're back. It's been what, 3 months? Just a little over 3 months. So we're so excited. I'm excited because I've missed everybody, and I know people have missed the chat, and I had no idea we were going to come back on YouTube because I am not a YouTuber. Let me just say it right up front. And I got Julie, Julie bravely volunteered to join us today, and we're just going to see how this goes. So we're going to give this a go. And like I said, there's a slight delay from StreamYard to YouTube, which we did notice when we were rehearsing yesterday, I think, too, a little bit that it happened, but then I forgot. So anyway, I think everybody, it seems like people are hearing and able to follow along. And we're, I don't even know what to say. I mean, it's kind of crazy to be back and be here. And, Julie, you've been with us a few times as a guest, but this is a new, format. So
everybody brace yourselves.
Yeah, Julie on Twitter is Casey Copy Diva, and she's been a guest at least 2 or 3 times on the Twitter version of the chat. So I felt really comfortable, and I was so happy that she kind of stepped forward because I did not want to be on here by myself. Let's put it that way. So if I have someone to bounce off of, it goes a lot better. So do you want to start? And we're gonna do our introductions and all of that, just like we would normally do. But I was gonna let Julie just tell us a little bit about herself and her work, and maybe she can share a link to her site or whatever she would like to share in the comments too. So,
sure. Oh, hang on. I can't do 2 things at once. I'm gonna put my website up there, y'all. Brand new, just launched. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Oh, my comment has failed to post. Well, that's rude. What just happened? It says failed to post to you, Michelle. That's bizarre.
No.
Huh. Well, JulieCortez.com, Cortez with an S. You can see the spelling there in StreamYard. First of all, thank you, Michelle, for coming back. How great is it to see her like live and in the flesh and not behind a keyboard on Twitter? So exciting. And I'm so thrilled and so honored to be here, and so lucky that I just happened to see your request looking for a guest, because algorithms are weird and everything. But yes, about me, Julie Cortez, copywriter by day, freelance rock star by night. I live, breathe, teach, speak, and coach on all things freelancing. I have run my own freelancing business. Wait a second. Next Wednesday will mark 26 years of being
free. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Fired on Valentine's Day.
Well, that's a great timing.
Oh yeah, I've got a big old story on that. I share it every year. But yes, great timing. I was devastated, didn't know what I was going to do. And quite honestly, once I started freelancing, I found my love for it, and I sat down, I wrote a business plan and a marketing plan, and off I went, and absolutely love it. I am probably best known as being the founder of the Freelance Exchange of Kansas City. We're a professional not-for-profit trade organization similar to like an ad club or an AIGA or PRSA that you all might be familiar with. We are currently only in Kansas City, but we are looking at going national. We've been around for 21 years now. So thank you, Michelle, for adding my website link.
Yeah.
And then from there, my journey has had like all sorts of freaking twists and turns that I never saw coming, but I absolutely love it. I started, I created my own course called Freelancing 101, and I got picked up as an adjunct professor. I now teach at the Kansas City Art Institute.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've been there like 7 years. Never saw that one coming. No teaching experience whatsoever. Teaching a business class at an art school, like my mind blown, right?
Yeah.
But absolutely love it. Once I started doing that, so many of my professional peers were like, Julie, I want to come sit in on your class. I'm like, well, that's great, but there's no room and you have to enroll and pay. And like, who wants to do that really at this age? So it was like, okay, Cortez, light bulb moment. Why don't you open up your own coaching arm to your business to help your fellow freelancers? So that's exactly what I've done. And then since then, the speaking gigs and the interviews have come. And I've spoken on stages near and far, and I just absolutely love it. So thrilled to be here, talk all things freelancing.
Yeah, I know. Well, let's see. What was I going to say? I don't know. So many things. My natural habitat. Okay. Like normally I'm, posting GIFs and just,
well, why don't you tell everybody about you for if there's any newcomers?
Oh, well, let's see. Let me see if I can, I'm going to try to do this. Everything's an experiment today, so it's really quite let's see if it works.
Well, I got a long web address.
No, it didn't come up, did it?
It did not.
Oh, shoot. I know, that's supposed to be a GIF. Anyway, yeah, no, I think, most people know I'm Michelle and I am a PR consultant. I'm a freelance writer. I've been freelancing for not quite as long as you, but pretty close. I was thinking I'm probably hitting 25 years this spring. So
me.
Yeah. It's hard to believe. I would say 20 plus years. After 20, I'm kind of like, well, who's counting anymore? Like, okay, it's like been a long time, right? We all know. And I did it deliberately. I was not fired. I had always planned to quit my job, and I was just kind of waiting to get to that point because I worked in, for-profit, nonprofit, big companies, little companies. I worked at an agency. That was my last thing that I wanted to get in place. My mentor at the time said, you need the agency experience so you know how to manage clients and juggle multiple clients. And so I did that for a year. It was about all I could stick it out. And then I was like, okay, it's time. And then they hired me back like immediately to work on I was working I've done a lot of work in the tech sector. So Adobe, HP, those were the clients. And it was Andy Cunningham's agency out in Silicon Valley. And she was Steve Jobs' PR person. So that was actually, I thought it was going to be really cool to work there, but the agency itself was just like probably a lot of agencies, and it was not always.
Yeah. I got it. Nobody wants to get fired, but what I didn't understand, because I was young when this happened, like apparently that's how it goes in the ad agency world anyway, on the advertising side of things. And this is common. People lose their jobs all the time, whether the agency loses an account or there's egos, going on. And I was devastated. So now, like when I go in and speak to students, like I tell them, I'm like, you're more than likely to lose your job at some point. So like be prepared.
Yeah. I feel like you need to get the experience before you freelance, but I know there are people just going right out and doing it right out of school now. And I kind of don't blame them on one hand, because it's, no job is going to be loyal to you. And companies have never been loyal to workers. Right. And it's, less so than ever now. So yeah. Anyway, I'm going to, ask everybody if they want to introduce themselves. I guess we can do that in the comments. We're going to see how that goes. And then we are going to be talking about staying motivated. Okay, let me just take this.
Everybody's sad about your GIFs that they're not working.
Well, like I said, we're gonna have to get the hang of this. I just tried what I thought would work. You can share the GIFs on Jiffy, but you cannot. I don't see a way to share them. You could just copy for YouTube. It doesn't say you could share it directly to YouTube. You could share it on Twitter. You could share it on, like Pinterest, Reddit, but I don't see a way to share it on YouTube. So this may just be me not understanding how this works, but
we'll bring the information. How's that?
I will say I have done quite a lot of legwork and research just getting ready to do this much today. And so, I've learned a lot, and I'm sure I have a lot more to learn. And, I'm kind of pushing myself out of my comfort zone a little bit. And I think I've been in my cocoon, in my comfort zone, and I'm like, okay, I need to just get over that and get out there. So this is me trying to I want to bring the chat back, but I also am trying to learn and push and grow a little bit with all that too. So
that's so awesome. Well, we have some people coming in telling us all about themselves. Hi, Caitlin, Barack, if I'm saying that right. Angela, Alexa, thank you.
Yay!
Represent from Seattle.
I don't know if Shane's here, but I wanted to wish Shane Carpenter, I think his birthday's today, and I wanted to just wish him a really, really, really happy birthday. And if I had a toast, I have a coffee I can toast to Shane.
In Iowa. I'm in Kansas City, so not very far from you, Angela. And Michelle, where are you at?
I'm in Columbus, Ohio now.
Now. Where were you before?
Well, I did live out in Silicon Valley, and I still kind of miss it out there, although I know it's like, I don't know. I sold my house. I shouldn't have done it. I kept on hold of that, but yeah. It's nice.
Yeah, go ahead.
The time zone is good because I can work with clients anywhere, and it's pretty, Eastern time is pretty. I was going to say one thing I remembered I was going to talk to you about was Chris Brown, who's also been a guest on the chat and the legal side of things. He was in Kansas City as well, and so there's I know there's a Kansas City contingent that has been involved with the chat a little bit. So I hear really great things, and I hear you're going to have a really big weekend. So
we are. Go Chiefs. It's a little exciting around here. I'm not really big into the sports ball, but everybody else is. And, it's just exciting and good for our city. And so it should be good. Hopefully we'll win. And then we'll continue to piss people off with Taylor Swift and all of the things, because apparently that's what we do.
Yeah, well, I'm not even going to get into that.
That's a pretty smart move. Nebraska. Carrie, Corey? Where are you at in Nebraska? I lived in Lincoln for a short bit, not by choice. My husband got transferred for a year.
We were talking about how it's flyover country, right? Because for some of us, it's like we don't even remember, like, the map. I mean, like, I don't mean anything. not to, but it's like sometimes you forget, like, there's a bunch of states and
we're right here. The good thing about being in the Midwest, though, like, to your point, like time zones, it's not a big deal, to hop on with anybody from either coast. And quite honestly, for travel, it's great because I can get anywhere, pretty quickly. So
yeah, no, that is nice. You're right in the middle, so you could kind of go any which way, right?
We just got a brand new airport. It's very fancy. Oh gosh, we were so old-fashioned for the longest time. Now we feel like we're getting with the times, which is amazing. Sports ball. Yes.
Let's start with questions. Okay, so we're talking about, I put the title up there. I'm going to read it because I'll get it. How freelancers can beat the winter doldrums by getting and staying motivated. And I don't know about anyone else, but I mean, after the holidays, it was a struggle, and it kind of is every year. And and I know a lot of people just had a hard, 2023. I know a lot of writers are struggling, still to find work and clients. So we're going to talk about, hopefully, things that will touch on every freelancer, no matter what you do, if you're, whatever line of work you're in. So we're going to start with question 1. And I guess, we'll just have to put our answers in the chat and we'll just see how it works. Okay. So, and I have a slide. Let me see if I can pull it up. Why don't you read the question?
Okay. So the first question is, what are some simple things freelancers can do to get motivated during the colder, bleaker winter months? Now, I certainly have some thoughts on this. Would you like me to go ahead, Michelle?
I would. Thank you.
Answers in the chat, and I'm happy to do that after I'm done talking. I can't do 2 things at once. Okay, simple things freelancers can do, whether it's the colder winter, bleaker months, whatever you want to call them, or any other time of year. If you find yourself struggling, here are some tips and tricks that I personally like to use. Believe it or not, I do come with a lot of energy. However, I'm just human like anybody else and struggle just like anybody else. So one thing that really works for me is to keep a morning routine. And that means getting up around the same time every morning, and having breakfast, working out, whatever that looks like for you, right? You walk your dog, you watch the news, whatever. Have some morning routine and keep it consistent. I think that's super helpful. Within that vein, also, I'm a huge proponent of getting up and getting ready for work, getting ready for the day. If you work from home, it's super easy to fall into that habit of, I can work in my pajamas and I can walk down the hall in my bunny slippers and my coffee, right? And you can. I'm here to tell you that for like 99% of the people out there, I made up that statistic. If you are dressed for work, seriously, like it will give you an added boost, right? A little added bit of energy because it subconsciously tells your brain that it's time to go to work. Right? So get up, get showered, get dressed, do your morning routine, whatever that looks like. And do your hair, do your makeup, put on your jewelry, whatever you would do if you were going to like a normal office, having a normal full-time job, treat this the same. Okay. And then bonus, if somebody wants to hop on a Zoom call with you, like in the next 15 minutes, you'll be ready and you won't have to keep your camera off. You'll totally be ready. So it's a nice little bonus in that regard. Otherwise, simple things that we try and tell ourselves to do just on the personal side of things, like turn on all the lights, open the windows, maybe light a candle that has an energizing scent, turn up the radio, to some music that really gets your blood pumping, all of these things I think can really help. But at the end of the day, I feel like that morning routine, getting up at the same time, having breakfast, super important. Oh, I forgot to even say, one of my favorite tips with your morning routine, make your bed. Make your bed.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds so simple in concept, but you pull up the covers. You don't have to put on your fancy throw pillows or throw blanket or whatever you've got, going on there. Just pull up your covers. That simple act, twofold, not only will help you cross something off your list and you'll accomplish something for the day. What just happened?
I got it, but it's crook. It's not right. Uh-oh. It's sideways. Well, we'll work on that.
You'll have accomplished something for the day. And then the other thing too is that if you're a napper, like studies show that you'll be less likely to crawl back into bed. So it just kind of tells your brain you're done with that part of the day. So go ahead and make your bed. I know when I tell people this, they look at me like I'm either crazy or brilliant, and hopefully it's the latter. So
no, I do think that making the bed, I know that's simple, but like I always just feel like just better about just getting started, and I'm not going back to the bed. So, it's made, I'm less likely to get back. I mean, it makes sense, right? Like in my brain, it's like, okay, you're up. Like, this is it. Like, not that I do that very often, but I mean, because I work for myself, if I want to, I could do it, right?
right.
Stop me from doing that. But no, I think that's a good tip. So, and I was going to say one thing for me is like, I had a really rough January, like I'll admit it. And there were days when I just wasn't getting much done. And so sometimes I would just kind of switch gears and I would just say, you know what, it's not happening right now. And me sitting here at my desk is not going to make it happen. And so what else can I do that is productive in some other way? Could I work on something for my business? Does something around the house need done? Can I run an errand, something, exercise, whatever it is, and just switch gears and maybe, try to do something else for a little bit until I feel it, maybe even, call off early or, whatever. So I think sometimes when we work for ourselves, we forget, like I forget that I can even do that. Like I feel like I have to be in my chair from like certain hours. It's like, no, not really, but I have to like really remind myself sometimes, like it's okay to get up and do something else and like, come back or maybe not. Like I don't know, but I feel like it's getting a little bit better. Like January was tough, but I'm starting to kind of feel like I'm getting my mojo back a little bit. But it was, holidays. I love the holidays and I love taking time off, but man, that just kicks you in the pants as far as your routine and your schedule and all that. So,
oh yeah. I'm looking at some of these comments coming in and they're laughing about wearing pants or hard pants, as somebody calls them. And I get it. I'll tell you though, some people are like, oh, Zoom calls, you just dress from the waist up, and I get it, but I can't tell you, not that it happens all the time, but every once in a while, I literally have to get up and like go get something so I can show somebody something. Yeah. And so if they can see your pants, guess what?
Yikes.
Yeah. But whatever. No, these are fun. I appreciate you all chiming in here. Yes, fresh air and sunshine, very much. I love that. That's really good. In fact, that's one of my tips later on. What else we got? Good. Lots of chiming in.
Good. So it's kind of working. The chat.
Yeah, I think it is. Again, there's a little bit of a delay, folks. So you might see me reacting to your comment coming in like, I don't know, a minute later. So fun.
Yeah.
All right. Should we do question 2?
We can. I have it ready.
All right.
I'm still trying to work on the slide. That's not going very well. So I just can't figure out how to flip that thing. So anyway.
Turn your head to the left. Read the graphic. Okay. Number 2, how can freelancers find the motivation to continue prospecting when they're feeling defeated? Oh, so good. So good. I think for me, I've got to remember my why. If you all have heard this term, Simon Sinek coined it, he's got a book, he's got a TED Talk, really good. Thing to remember always is your why. Why do you do the things that you do? What motivates you to get up every day and go to work? What lights a fire underneath you? For me, that's been really helpful. I think remembering too that, even if you don't have paid work to do, there's still work to do, such as prospecting. And remembering that the steps that you take today will totally pay off tomorrow. So you've got to plan for the future and prep now for the future. Setting goals, having goals in mind are super helpful. Going back and reviewing those goals when you're kind of feeling down or defeated, I think is helpful too. Keep your eye on the prize, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. My mom used to always tell me that as a kid. What does that even mean? Who has bootstraps? But just keep your goals front and center so you remember those, so you keep that motivation alive. And then my personal favorite is to keep office hours. Now, I know you mentioned this before we got on live here, Michelle, but I love this trick. I keep office hours daily, and they can be whatever you want. If you work for yourself, freedom, you get to set your own hours and whatever that looks like to you, but keep them. Not only training yourself and to adhere to those hours, but anybody else around you, a spouse, a partner, kids, family and friends, external to your home. I think that's super helpful. So it's not work.
No, I give up. I don't know.
But for me, keeping those office hours have been essential. So let's say my office hours are 9 to 5. I don't have any paid work to do that day, but guess what? I still have a job to do. I still have to go to work. And this really has helped my mindset. I treat my business like I would any other full-time job. And I still get into the office and I still do all the things that either need to be done or that I want to get done. And I keep a running list. So if I'm ever at a loss for what needs to get done, there's plenty to do. And I understand that is going to build my future. So I just keep going. Even when I'm not feeling like it, I keep going. Now, Of course, when we work for ourselves, we have the opportunity to take time off and go play and do whatever it is that we want. And I'm not saying never do that. Yes, absolutely, once in a blue moon, but I wouldn't make it a habit, because really dedicating your time and your energy to your business and treating your business like it's a regular job, I think is really going to help get you ahead.
Yeah. I think, I mean, for me, and maybe for you too, but it's harder when you're a newer freelancer, but when you've been at it a while, I feel like it just becomes like, it's just your mode. It's just your MO. It's just like, I'm not saying you're going to hustle all the time, because I hate that word. Right. But I mean, you're just kind of like in that space of like, I'm always talking to people. Even when I have a full client load, I'm still probably going to talk to somebody if they get in touch and want to, potentially have a project or whatever, because I never worry about having too much work. I mean, it's a good problem to have, in my opinion, and I would rather figure out what I'm going to do and go into it with that thought than to be like, oh, I'm too busy, or I think I'm going to be too busy, because I can say just this last, few months toward the end of the year, I had a few things going on that I thought were going to come through, and they didn't all come through. So, I mean, if I had just stopped and said, oh, my plate's going to be full come the new year, and just stop talking to people, then that might have been a problem. Right. So for me, I just try to stay in that mode of being open and like talking and finding. I think the worst thing you can do is just say, oh, I'm too busy to, do anything but do my client work or whatever. Just you shouldn't shut that down, I guess, if you can possibly manage to keep those conversations going or keep yourself kind of out there. It's really hard to market, when you feel like you're just too busy to even catch your breath, but it's important, I think. So
it is important, and there's all these freelancing gurus out there, marketing mentors or whatever, who will tell you it's important to dedicate time every single day to work on your business, whether that's marketing or prospecting or bookkeeping or whatever the case may be. There's one whom I can think of says dedicate an hour a day to marketing. And I know that sounds like a lot to people. I personally have tried this since the pandemic, and it has been a game changer. I'm going to tell you that right now. So it is crucial. It is important. There's another guy out there, really funny, but he dedicates half of his day every single day to working on his business. I personally feel like that's a little bit much, unless you want to grow and scale your business. And that's a different story. I want to remain a solopreneur for the rest of my life, right?
Yes. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I don't want to deal with employees and corporate politics and all that stuff. But for sure.
Well, I mean, now, like, again, I mean, this is something, of course, people talk about all the time, but like, I think when I started out freelancing, and again, you may have the same experience, people were like, you're still doing that freelancing thing? Like, and I'm like, yeah. And now it's like, well, that's much more stable in a lot of cases than a full-time job is. So hello, like, it's a viable, it's a real career path, a real option for people. So I just think it's really, I always thought it was funny. And I still, now you don't hear those questions as much now. It's like, oh, okay, you work for yourself. Okay, cool. Cause when I started, it wasn't super common, in the Bay Area where I lived when I started, it was, but here in the Midwest, it really was not very common. And I think it kind of took time to like become accepted. And, I think even now there's some people here who have a weird attitude or perspective on it. And even that, of course, the word freelancer, people debate all the time about, call yourself a freelancer. I'm like, well, but if that's what people are searching for, like, why would you not call? I mean, if they're typing that in to hire somebody, of course you want to call, of course you want to use that word. So I don't know, you got to use what works for you. But
right. No, I agree. And that could be a whole other discussion going down that rabbit hole, because I'm with you, it still kind of has this negative connotation. And personally, for the last 26 years, I've been trying to improve the image of that term and helping other people improve the image of that term by helping others become savvier, business people. And to me, at the end of the day, it is what it is. No matter what you call yourself, it's the same thing. We're talking about the same thing, right?
Yeah. It's just funny. Yeah, no, we could talk about that all day. And some people will take a really like kind of a nasty approach about it. And I'm like, you're not going to
you're not helping things.
Bully us into changing, like if that's what we want to call ourselves. And of course, if you don't want to call yourself that, then don't. I mean, whatever works for you. I always think consultant, I use consultant, but sometimes I feel like that implies like expensive, like too expensive, like I can't afford it, like, and I'm not saying freelancer sounds like you're cheap, but it just, to me, the terms can be interchangeable. But anyway, we won't get off on that because I'm sure
we go down that rabbit hole. Let's not.
But I don't want to open up that can of worms. All right. I'm going to put up the third question.
Okay.
I'm not going to even try to get the slide up. I do have the slides, but they're just not working out. So,
all right. Number 3, what is the key to staying motivated as a freelancer, especially when you're feeling blah, 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 blah? To me, mindset is freaking everything. Mindset and motivation are at the core of running your own business.
right.
And I know it's easy to get into your head, when you're feeling down, or you might be feeling imposter syndrome or whatever life is throwing at you that day. And here's a tip that I think that could help combat some of those feelings. If and when you get notes of appreciation, whether a client responds to you after doing a project, oh my God, I love this, you did such a great job, or maybe somebody sends you a lovely thank you note in the mail, or something, anything that helps perk you up, keep a box of those things or a file on your desktop, and then go back and review those things when you're feeling blah. And I feel like it's just, again, so simple in concept, but just reminding yourself of those things. Oh yeah, I am doing good work for good people, and I am a good person, and I am good at what I do. I think that's going to help, for sure. Reviewing them periodically, even if you're not feeling blah, maybe you pull them out like quarterly or something to remind yourself of those things, to remember that your work has value, that your work has worth. And then also you've got to get in the mindset too of if you're not in a position where you're respecting your own worth, how do you expect your clients or your prospective clients to respect your worth as well?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to say fake it till you make it, because I know that doesn't always work for everybody, but maybe you reframe that and you shift the narrative, and instead of fake it till you make it, it's dress for the job that you want. And I'm not talking dress, your actual clothes, but your mindset. Show that mindset that you're confident in yourself and in your worth, even when you're not feeling it, so you can get that in return.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely have just days or periods. I mean, not long periods, but sometimes just even during a period of the day when I feel blah. And I also kind of pay attention to the times of the day when I feel like I'm most productive, and the times of the day when I might, okay, so if I have a big writing project, what time of the day am I going to be in a better headspace to work on that? So it's probably not at 5 o'clock, right? So it's probably more in the morning, maybe, for those heavier, tasks for me, and then I save kind of the less thought intensive
Yeah.
ones for maybe like 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon when I'm kind of like winding down or whatever. So, and I do take little social media breaks, and they used to be on, the other platform, but now they tend to be more on Threads or LinkedIn, a little bit for me. But and that's fun. Like, I can engage with, friends or just, folks over there a little bit, and then I can, maybe the problem for me is when I get on social media, I get ideas, and then I start typing up all these ideas I want to blog about or write about for my newsletter or whatever. And so I can go down rabbit holes or just, get off on a tangent that way. So I just have to manage that, but it does kind of help me perk up a little bit sometimes. And the feel good stuff, the feel good file for me is a huge, part of, what keeps me motivated too, because of course, there are days when we all just have, we just kind of need to, remember that we're good at what we do, and that we, are bringing value to our clients, and that, people, doggone it, people like us, like, it's like, we're not just toiling away here. A lot of us by ourselves in our little office, with nobody, like the cat or the dog or it's like there are people that actually believe in us and what we do, and believe that we bring value. And, so that's really important, I think, to have some way to keep track of that, whatever it is. I call it my feel good file.
Yeah.
You have somewhere you keep those little comments and the good stuff, the positives.
Yeah. I like how you mentioned too about, recognizing your body's energy and knowing when you have the most energy to do, the, what did you call the thought task, the thought
Yes.
task, something like that. You all know what I mean. If you need to
Yeah.
be super creative or have all of that mind power going at a certain time, like I know for me, morning is not it. I am not a morning person by far. My husband will tell you I am on fire between 3 and 6 p.m. And like literally, I'm heads down, getting all the things done. Don't bother me. I'm busy. And, but I know that about myself now. And so I'm able to, when I can, schedule those things during that time. And then during the morning, it's more for me, like I have to ease into the day. My brain and my mouth just don't connect just yet, before I have any caffeine or workout, before any of that. So, yeah, definitely honor your body's energy and schedule those tasks during when you're on fire, right?
Yeah.
What's good for you.
Well, it's good too, like, if the people that live in your house with you understand sometimes
Yeah,
because I feel like, when I had little kids, when I was on fire and when I had time to work, we're not al those things were not always synced up, right? So, like, it's always nice, when your family or whoever, your roommates or whoever it is, your spouse understands,
uh-huh.
that you're really in the flow or whatever it is. I think that's
Yeah.
important to try to capitalize on those times. And then I think just staying focused is such a chore sometimes. I mean, it's like, wow, and I don't want that to be interrupted either. So I have to, be pretty clear about that. Sometimes I just shut my door, but my
Yeah.
kids are bigger now. And so they're not home all day or they're not running in and out of my office all the time. But I remember what that was like. So I feel for those folks that have that kind of a situation. So
Yeah, definitely.
I'm going to put up the next question.
Okay. All right. Number 4. Y'all ready for this? How do you cope as a freelancer when you're having a down day? This kind of goes in line with the last question, but I feel like, it's important. If you're having a really, really, really bad day, honor those emotions. I'm not saying, just keep going if you can't. I feel like you need to make yourself aware of those emotions, feel those emotions, honor those emotions, and don't push yourself. If you're not on deadline, especially, like be very kind to yourself, and maybe you take a break. Maybe you go outside, you get some of that much needed vitamin D, get some sunshine, take a walk, get some fresh air. And try and spend time like maybe with a pet or with some loved ones, whether it's friends or family. Um, it's one of those things, just don't push yourself. I think you've got to be kind to yourself. So I mentioned I definitely keep office hours every day, 100%. But if there's a day that comes and especially with the world events going on right now, I'm not even going to talk about that right now. However, there are definitely times when I'm just, yeah, no, I can't do it right now. And so I'll go take a break, and maybe just plop myself down on the couch and snuggle with my dog for a little bit. And that seems to help get me back going. So what about you, Michelle?
Yeah, I mean, I do have pets and I love my kitties, and so I will go and spend a little time maybe with my pets, or I get on the treadmill, or sometimes I do allow myself to watch the news if something's breaking, and it seems like that happens more than ever these days. Like, oh gosh, more breaking news. Oh, okay, 24/7
Uh-huh.
breaking news. But yeah, I just I'm not perfect, and I accept that, and it's. I feel like no matter how long you've been working for yourself, there are just times when you just feel like I kind of want to throw up my hands a little bit. There are those times. And I mean, if that's how I feel, it's hard for me um, I don't know. I think I used to try to like get myself out of that instead of just letting myself feel the feelings and like feel like however I felt until I didn't feel that way anymore. And I just had, I don't know, a week or two ago, I had a day where I was just like, okay, nothing is going right today. And I'm kind of frustrated, pissed off, whatever. I mean, whatever it was, I was not in a happy place. And instead of trying to be like, oh, just cheer up, just, soldier along. Like you said, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Boy, was my mom big on that. And that didn't cause any problems. Like,
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, there are times when I think for me, and it's just better for me to let myself feel however I feel. And then like I sleep on it and I get up the next day and everything is, I'm seeing it in a different
You keep
light.
going.
So I think that's just, we're just human beings and that's just how it works sometimes. I mean, I don't
Absolutely.
know.
And I'm seeing in the comments here some really good tips. I agree with taking a fitness class or something like that, or getting on the treadmill, because even though sometimes that's the last thing you want to do when you're feeling down, like honestly, it helps so much with those endorphins, really getting those feel good chemicals going on. Honestly, I work out on the regular, not for my physical health necessarily, but for my mental health, because I have found that it has such a great effect on me. Like if you're feeling depressed and you feel like you've got this huge weight on your shoulders, or your head is cloudy, like try taking a fitness class for 2 weeks and I guarantee it's going to lift off sooner than later. And then getting outside, there are studies out there that show that there's something to be said, not just for the vitamin D and the sunshine and the fresh air that we've already talked about, but something about being in nature, getting your hands, into the ground, if it's gardening or planting or whatever, and feeling that dirt. There's really something to that. So if you're really at a place where you're not doing well, try that too and see if that will help.
Yeah, everybody kind of has to learn what works for them, and I say experiment. And I mean, the thing is too, and this is just not with having a bad day, but like with anything with working for myself, is like what used to work for me may not work for me now. So like, I'm different than I was 5, 10, 15 years ago. I'm different. So I have to remember to keep like open again and trying new things and being open to new things, and like, not just saying, well, this doesn't work today, so I'm just screwed. Like you gotta like maybe experiment a little bit and see. Like I want to try taking some yoga classes. I haven't done that in a billion years, and I thought, oh, that might be good for me. I could do it at home, but like maybe I should try, just get out and do that once in a while. And I think the winter is hard, especially here, like, well, or in the Midwest or other, probably North is worse, like, right? So when you don't, like, for me, it gets dark and then you just want to like cuddle up and like, and there's nothing wrong with that. But, sometimes I have to push myself again a little bit to get out and do things and see people. And, yeah, it just sometimes it's just easier to stay home. I'm like, I don't know, not gonna lie, like I'm just fine. Like, I work at home. I could stay home for probably a few days and not go anywhere, and it probably wouldn't bother me too much. But I know that some people are really impacted by that, and they love to work at a cafe or they love to work at the library or whatever. So just kind of change it up and try new things if something isn't having the same impact anymore that maybe it once did for you, or whatever that might be. So
no, I think that's a great point. And I think too, getting out of the house once a day is super helpful for our mindset to combat that isolation factor, and whether you go to a networking event or a client meeting, or even meeting somebody for lunch or coffee or happy hour, all of that is super helpful. And then also, if you're somebody who struggles to get up, get dressed, do your hair and makeup every day, like that will force you to do those things, because now you have to get out of the house. But I'm with you. There's many days where I don't get out of the house, but I'm sure that I have some sort of Zoom call going on, so I still have that interaction. And yes, there are days I want to get out of my work clothes, put on comfy clothes, and go lounge. But, especially during the winter months. But I'll tell you, my husband and I have gotten into this routine. We like force ourselves to keep our office hours, because he also works from home. We force ourselves to keep our office hours. We go and we make dinner, have dinner, whatever. And then like immediately after dinner, it seems like in the wintertime, it's like, okay, time to go put on jammies, And so
yeah,
that's our reward, right?
yeah, right. I mean, that's I don't know. Some people just it just, everybody's different. Like some people really need that activity to get out, and other people are just fine staying at home. That's that's just how it is. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to put the last question up. I saw Shane just came in, and I thought it was his birthday, but then I went over to Twitter to check, and I'm not seeing the balloons. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Anyway, if it is, happy birthday. If it's not, sorry, I got it wrong.
Happy birthday. All right. Question number 5. Are we
Get right
ready?
in there. Okay, here we go.
Here we go. How can
Here it
freelancers
goes.
keep kind to themselves during this time. Well, we talked about taking breaks. We talked about being kind to yourself and things that you can do with all of that. I think, having a to-do list, but then prioritizing it is super helpful as well. What are the things that absolutely have to get done today? And then what are the nice tos, get done? And then if you're having one of those blah days, then just do the things that you have to do and don't necessarily work on the things that you want to do at that point in time. Again, give yourself some grace during all of this, whether or not you get to those want to do's or nice to do things. I think that's totally fine. If you want to surround yourself with loved ones, with friends, with family, with pets, colleagues, whatever that looks like for you, I think that's super helpful as well. And then, gosh, we just touched on this. This is one of my bullet points: is get out of the house and be social. Surround yourselves by others. I don't know about you all, but sometimes when I get down, I get stuck in my head and I have these negative thoughts that it's almost like obsessive, and that's all I can think about. And so I have to distract myself in order to kind of get over the hump. So whether that's diving into my work or getting out and being social, anything to take my mind off of things, I think is super helpful.
Yeah. Yep. Like I said, the struggle is real sometimes, and you just, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I mean, I feel like the fact that even there's more daylight now is maybe helping a little bit. I just, when it gets dark at 4:30 or 5 o'clock, I mean, I'd be in my office sometimes and I'd walk out into the house and the house would be pitch black. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, and then you just feel like you just want to go to bed. Like, like, okay. I guess that's it. Like, I gotta make dinner and clean up, and we're going to bed. I don't know. It's just, it's weird because I'm sure that, back in the caveman days, it was like a signal for you to, to wind down and go to bed. And I'm like, well, it still works that way for me sometimes. So I gotta fight that urge to, kind of shut down for the day. But yeah. I do want to say we have 10 minutes. If anyone has questions for Julie, please ask. Someone also mentioned that I have 2 YouTube channels, so I'm gonna have to figure that out because I hope some people aren't on the wrong one. I don't know, but we got to work. I promise that I will try to work out the kinks, and if people liked the chat today, in this format, I would be open to doing it, probably not weekly, but maybe every other week or at least once a month. Let me know what you think about it. And, I'm happy to hear your thoughts and feedback and criticisms or whatever again, I'm new to this, so I certainly don't know it all. And I would love to hear, people's feedback. So
I'm curious if I know, so you've got StreamYard connected to YouTube. I wonder if by going live, you could also go live on other platforms at the same time. And if anybody knows, please let us know.
You can. I do know the answer. You can. Like, we could do LinkedIn too.
Facebook, Instagram, all the things.
Yeah. And because I'm just, like I said, I'm just getting my feet wet a little bit, but the free StreamYard has some features. If you pay, I think it's $12 a month. It's not even that much. You could do other things with it too, and people really have positive things to say about StreamYard. So I think it's working pretty well. I'll have to figure out the slides, but I don't think we necessarily need those. I don't know. Well, I don't know.
And the gifts too. Come on.
But yeah, it's just good to see everybody here. And of course, I feel like, while the chat was kind of on hiatus, I saw a lot of people, missing it and talking about it. And, so like I said, I'm happy to try to figure out a way that works, that is not on the old place. So yeah, we'll take it under advisement, I guess.
There you go. There you go. Oh, Alexa's asking if you can pop up the comments on the screen too. Oh, and the questions. Well, we did try to get the questions on the screen and they were sideways. So maybe instead of a graphic, maybe there's a way to type it in or copy and paste so it's just text on the screen. You might be able to do.
Well, like I said, this is my I don't, I'm not gonna I don't want anybody to to worry about me, but it's a lot for me to be doing this at all. I'll just be really honest because I don't have any. I've been a guest on other people's, YouTube shows and podcasts and things like that, but I have not a lot of experience as far as doing this kind of a format. So certainly it would get better the more I used it and understood how to use it. And maybe I need to do a tutorial in StreamYard to understand fully how it works and everything you can do. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I just want to say thank you for doing this. Thank you for bringing it back. And we're so proud of you for trying new things and busting out of your comfort zone. Even if you're not a pro at this yet, we'll bear with it. You've been doing freelance chat for so long. And I remember I caught your tweet saying that you were stopping it. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's the end of an era. What do we do now?
I know.
And
I did cry that day. I really did.
Oh my God. Oh, look at that. That was cool.
Oh, is that what it takes? Look, let's see. Do we get it?
I know it does it on
No, I'm not doing a very good heart.
I didn't know StreamYard did it too. Wow, cool.
See, I'm just not, I don't know.
Well, thanks for having me as your guinea pig, and hopefully it went as well as it possibly could for you. And any other time that I can help out, just reach out. Happy to help.
Yeah. And if anybody, like I said, we will wrap up here in a couple of minutes. But if anybody has a question, please ask. And if anybody has any other thoughts on the topic, or also maybe let me know what you want to talk about if we do these again in the future. So maybe some topics that you're interested in. Of course, I have a list, and I just kind of know because I have my own ideas about what what's going on out there. But yeah, curious what people are feeling as far as topics and questions or issues they're facing. I mean, getting more clients is always an issue. I think staying motivated is always an issue. I mean, yeah.
Pricing too. Pricing would be a big question too that I get a lot.
Which, say that again?
Pricing.
Oh, pricing. Yeah. How about packaging? I was thinking about packaging and like different options for people. Like, I mean, and sometimes like you have some pricing on your site, but it doesn't cover everything you do. It's just kind of there to like give people an idea. But do they know that you do other like you have to put everything up there, everything in a package and price everything, So I think that is actually a really interesting topic. So yeah.
Absolutely. And then do you charge by the hour, by the project, retainer, what have you? There's so many different things. I think that'd be a really good question to go down, because I think a lot of people too don't understand how to charge their worth, and that the work that they're doing, when you charge, you're so much more than your time, your talent, your experience, your expertise, the results you can get, the value, and the list goes on and on. And so we have to understand that first before we can expect our clients to understand that, right? And then we educate them why that's important. So yeah, all of the things.
Yeah.
I hear you taking away. Two things.
Yeah, well, it's hard for me to talk to you and then read the comments and type. I'm like, no,
That's why I'm not even bothering. I'm looking.
I'm not that, I don't know. My brain does not always compute that way. I don't know.
No, I'm with you. I can't do two things at once. But
I definitely, well, on the pricing thing, I don't price hourly anymore, and that was a huge shift for me in as far as the mindset of it. Because I've been doing this too long to be like nickel and diming and just counting, 15 minutes on this. I'm not doing that, and it's kind of an agency mindset, I feel like too. And I think for me, if I make my clients look good and they're happy, then that's how we really measure it. Like, are they happy? Are they getting what they are paying me for? Do they feel like they're getting the value? And then everybody's happy, and there really aren't a lot of questions about the billing side of things. Right. And luckily I work with clients who don't like need a report every month. Oh, you spent 5 hours on this and you spent 2 hours. No, I don't really, that's not a good client for me if that's how they're looking at it, because it's more about, okay, are you getting, do you feel like you're getting something out of the, relationship, the the collaboration. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a thing though, I know.
It is. And, I think it depends too on what it is you do. PR, copywriting, design, photography, they all have their own models. And, of course, the more senior level you get, the more years experience you have. Of course, if you're charging hourly, your hourly rate's going to go up. And then you get stuck with people comparing apples to oranges. And they're like, well, why should I pay you this exorbitant rate, senior level copywriter, when I can get the same thing? They think it's going to be the same quality from somebody right out of school for, a tenth of the price. And you're like,
Right.
not the same thing.
Yeah. Well, it kills me too when people say raise your prices every year. Well, when you've been at it for a long time, that doesn't really make sense either. Like, you can't necessarily raise your hourly rate. I mean, you could probably package it up in a retainer or project rate to make it worth your while and think about it that way. But I don't think, like, if I'm billing at, a certain rate, there's no way I could raise that every single year. I mean, no one would pay it, right? I mean, like,
right. You got to stay competitive in your market. Absolutely.
$1 a year. I'm going to go. I mean, at a certain point, you're just like, no, that's not really going to work. But then every time I think like, oh, that's a lot, I'm charging a lot, then I see somebody else who's charging, for similar work, charging way more. And I'm like, okay, well, I think you just have to figure out what your sweet spot is. And it's, it's experimenting, and yeah, but that's a whole nother conversation.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah. All right, Julie. Well, I think we're almost at 1 here, and I really appreciate you. I can't thank you enough for, being here and helping me through this.
Can I have you again? Let's do it. Yes.
I'm not even going to try, right? I don't know. But I am very, very grateful to everybody that showed up today. And I will try to work out the kinks, and we'll see if we can schedule this again, maybe later this month. I kind of like keeping it on the same Thursday at noon because that's kind of what people are used to. So, and once I do that, I will certainly share it on, I will probably tweet about it, and I will put it on Threads. And so keep an eye out for that. But thank you so much, everybody.
Yes, thanks. Come connect with me on LinkedIn, y'all. I'd love to be connected to everyone.
Yeah. All right.
Awesome. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.